So this is my first video, I guess, for YouTube. I've had some people ask for videos and posting videos, and I warned everyone in the beginning I'm not going to get into a bunch of production snipping and editing and doing that. That's not part of the project, but documentation of the project as I go along and learn. That is part of the project, documenting it. So I've decided to give a try at it. And so anyway, right here in front of us, we have the PDM. And if anyone remembers from the first Nissan Leaf that I bought that wouldn't take a charge, I had determined that the problem, I don't know where the problem was exactly, but I had determined that it was in the PDM. And the problem is you really don't buy parts at a smaller level than just buying the whole PDM. So that's what I end up doing for, I don't know, it was like $300, I want to say it was $303 to my door for the PDM. So this is actually the bad PDM. And I've got some covers off. They're identical. This one's from my new 2013, and I do apologize for the shakes. I got a little bit of tremor in my hands, and so I do apologize for that. I don't know if there's a good fix for that. But I wanted to show you some of the components and some of the differences. Why one of the many reasons I was interested in was starting with the fully loaded Leaf versus the I guess the standard Leaf, and that is the fact that this came standard with DC fast charging. Okay, and so if we look right here in this corner, basically from here, that is the DC fast charging main componentry, and if we pan over to here, you see it's missing. In fact, there's not even there's no hole in the case to accept the plug. They never milled it out. This never did have DC fast charging. Like I said before, I do have some covers off of this one. Some of these, so if I pan back over here, so you can see the circuit boards. If I pan over here, you'll notice that black protector. The plastic is over the top of it. I figured the other one's junk. No reason to put it completely back together. So let's talk about some of the connections that comes into the PDM. And if you remember, the PDM stands for Power Distribution Module. It's kind of like the fuse box in your house a little bit, in the fact that it's distributing, juice. It's the main point where it comes in and where and it goes out. But it has other things. It has other things in it. So we'll discuss all those. But this port right here, where's my finger here? This port here on the bottom has a round pin, and that is all the low voltage. That's all the communication for the PDM comes in there. That's all low voltage, and it comes over and it goes to there. So I'm gonna take you over to the other one just to show you, because that part was broke when it came, so I don't have it. So if I come over here, there's the hole where right here where it would have come up. And then that wire, and all the connectors, it actually snaked over and went right into there, okay, into that connector. This board here is mainly like the lower voltage. It's the control board, if you will, for this device. Whereas many of the other things you see on here are big voltage and big amperage. So we're going to go back over to the other one here. So back onto this DC fast charging, okay? So down here, that's where the plug comes in, and then it bolts on here and here, okay? And this circuit board is added. That is for communication between the charger and the car, okay? Just for the DC high voltage, okay, charging. When it has done its handshake and everything is okay. You know, you've plugged the DC charger into it, and it has done its handshake because of this board. It said it's okay, it's good to go. Then it actually flips these relays, okay, these two relays right here. And one thing they do in these cars, these electric vehicles, is they kind of don't mess around. You know, in theory, you could just break one leg, you know, one side, and the voltage would stop flowing. Okay, but that's not what they do. They break both legs. They do that in the battery pack also. Okay, so as we go through this circuit, you're going to see, well, why are these relays here? Well, these relays are here because of the way this is kind of assembled. Okay, so if we come right to here, just over that little distance, this is where the battery comes up through here. Okay, up through here, bolts, you know, there and there, and it's all connected. So in theory, if the car was turned on, okay, and the contactors inside the battery were connected, okay, then that cable is going to be energized with 400 volts, and this circuitry here is going to be energized with 400 volts. And if they didn't have these contactors and it was just directly wired, then the juice would flow down through this connector, and you would have 400 volts sitting at the front of the car at that connector. So that's not a good thing. So these only contact when a handshake has been made for DC fast charging and for DC fast charging only. So we have some other things on here, right in here, and I found this interesting the other day when I was doing some troubleshooting on the first Leaf. So these two black bolts that you see, you know, here and here, which are, you know, right in line, other than that 30 amp fuse, those are for the air conditioner, for the compressor, okay, and those are hot the minute the car's turned on. That's not how I thought it would have been operating. I thought that maybe the PDM would act as an on-off switch, and only provide the high voltage, you know, when it's actually calling for it. But no, the minute that the car started, whether the air's on or not, it's delivering the 400 volts to the AC unit, and then the AC unit is being controlled with low voltage, you know, to turn itself, you know, on and off. So over here, these two lugs, these are actually it's kind of funny because everyone calls it the charger, but the things that we use at our homes to plug the electric vehicles in, they are not they're not car chargers. Okay, they're basically just glorified extension cords. They're kind of like extension cords that, when a proper handshake is done, enable the power to flow through. You know, kind of like the DC fast charging, but slightly different. Okay, so they come in here. This is where they connect, and that can be done with either 120 volts or it can be done with 240 volts. Okay, and this whole circuit, we'll go over to this one so you can see it. But this whole circuit is a boost circuit. Okay, so it actually takes the 120 or the 240 and it boosts it up, and then it rectifies it to create the DC to charge the battery at 400 volts. So that's that's what that's for. As we come back over here, with this big cluster of all this copper, we see these two lugs. Okay, well, where did those go? Okay, well, let's talk about those. So if we follow them down, they go down, and there's an opening. See right there, there's an opening. Okay, and not to get distracted, but we'll pan over. This is the inverter, and that's what connects to them. Okay, so the inverter has 480 volts DC going into it, just two legs. But what comes out of the belly of the inverter is AC voltage. So we have three phases when it comes out of the bottom of this. Okay. So some other things that the PDM does, this lug right here, this is for 12 volts, because you got to remember there's no gas engine in these, and so there's no alternator to be turned. So instead, what it does is it bucks the voltage down. It takes 400 volts DC and it turns it into about 14, I don't know, 14.4, 14.8, I think it is, somewhere in there, volts DC. And so this goes directly to the battery, the 12 volt side, the positive side. And then this lug right here is what they're using for the ground, okay, to ground this unit. So I think, well, I guess another thing I can show about this is all these parts on the Leaf, that make up the Leaf stack. Okay, the top is the PDM, the middle is the inverter, and the bottom is the motor. Okay, they're all liquid cooled. So, the liquid is flowing through here to chill the electronics. So there's one side there. If we come over, there's somewhere in here. Right there. There's the outlet. Okay. So they do have to be chilled. Now coming over to the inverter, same thing. It's one port is here, and I can't remember where the other port is. Right there. Right there's the other port. Okay. So really for hookups on this, there's these two here. So when the PDM sits on top of it, it gets bolted on. And then all these bolts here bolt the PDM to the inverter. And then we had the coolant lines I showed. And then the last this is the low voltage. There's quite a few connections. But this is the low voltage, or the communication for the inverter on this unit. So yeah, so I hope to get one of the motor in a couple days, and I'll get that for you too. Thanks.